Okay, the first group of organic chemicals are the alkanes. They are hydrocarbons because they only contain carbon and hydrogen. We call them saturated because they have no double bonds. Their physical properties are generally low boiling and low melting points, and they have a general formula of CnH2n plus 2. This means that for every carbon there are twice as many hydrogens plus 2. We'll now have a look at the first 5 alkanes. The first alkane is methane, and methane looks like this. You can see it has one central carbon and it has 4 hydrogens bonded singly to that central carbon. The second alkane is a chemical called ethane. The eth means 2 carbons and the ane means it has no double bonds. So that there is ethane, 2 carbons, eth, no double bonds, ane. The third alkane is a chemical called propane. Propane has 3 carbons. Prop means 3 carbons. And again, it has no double bonds. That's why it's ane at the end. The fourth member of this group of chemicals is butane. Butane, because it's the fourth, has 4 carbons in it. And again, because it's an alkane, it has no double bonds. So we add the 4th carbon there. And add a final hydrogen. So that there is butane. Now the final member of this group that we're going to look at is pentane, and pentane has 5 carbons, hence pent, and again no double bonds, therefore it's an alkane. Okay, the next group of chemicals we're going to look at are the alkenes. The alkenes differ from the alkanes, but they're very similar in that they're also hydrocarbons. They differ because they are unsaturated, which means they have at least 1 double bond between 2 of the carbons. Because of this, the first member of this group is actually ethene, because you can't have an alkene with only 1 carbon in it. They have similar chemical properties to the alkanes, and they have a general formula CnH2n, where for every carbon you've got, you have twice as many hydrogens. The first member of this group is ethene, and ethene will look like this. Okay, so ethene has to have a double bond between 2 of the carbons, so we'll just build that. And because of that, there's only room for 2 hydrogens on each of the carbons. So that there is ethene. You can see the double bond here. The next member of this group is different only because it has an extra carbon. So we leave the double bond where it is, and we can add in an extra methyl group. This is called a methyl group because it's got 1 carbon, meth, and it's saturated. Okay, it's got no double bonds on that bit. So that is propene. The next member. And the next member of this group is butene, which is C4H8. And we can see the double bond, that's the ene. But is 4 carbons, and it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hydrogens. Okay. The final member of the alkenes is the chemical pentene, which has 5 carbons and a double bond, so pent-ene. Okay, we're now going to move on to have a look at another group of organic chemicals, and that is the alcohols. Now the alcohols are so named because they include the OH functional group. That means there's an oxygen bonded to a hydrogen somewhere on the molecule. Because of this, they have higher melting and boiling points than the alkanes. Now, we're going to look at one example of an alcohol, and that example is a very popular one. It's ethanol, which is found in alcoholic drinks. Ethanol has this formula, and we can build ethanol from the kit by taking this part of the molecule, which is almost ethane. The AN bit there means there are no double bonds, and we have to add on the oxygen, and we have to add on the hydrogen. So that is a model of ethanol. The final group of chemicals we need to look at are the carboxylic acids. And the carboxylic acids contain this functional group here, which is a carbon double bonded to an oxygen, bonded to an oxygen and a hydrogen. These have much higher melting points and boiling points than the alkanes, and the example we're going to look at is ethanoic acid, which is also known as vinegar. So ethanoic acid has that structure, and if we bring back in the alcohol, and if we remove the hydrogens, take those away, and bring in the extra oxygen and double bond it to that carbon, we then have ethanoic acid, which, as I say, is also known as vinegar.